he found himself without electricity. And then VCONT stepped in. Within 30 minutes of a phone call to the Veterans Center of North Texas, his power was back on. Next, we have Kara Bradley. She found herself exposed to a traumatic experience. She lost her job and she got an eviction notice at her apartment. And then VCONT stepped in. They provided her an attorney and the immediate funds she needed to stay in her home and off the streets. And then here we have Paul Hatchenberger. See, he was elderly, disabled, and jobless. But VCONT stepped in and they helped him fill out a disability application. Not only was it accepted within 2 weeks, but he now is a regular volunteer helping other veterans in need. You see, all different backgrounds, all different people, all different needs. But the common theme is that VCONT stepped in. You see, the Department of Veteran Affairs estimates that 76,000 veterans are going to sleep on the street tonight. 76,000. Veterans ages 18 to 30 are twice as likely to end up homeless than the general population. And that's why VCONT is stepping up. You see, in less than 10 years, they've served over 10,000 veterans and their families to give them hope and dignity and honor when they come home. So VCONT, they assist veterans in 2 primary ways. One bucket is to basically act as a hub where every veteran who walks through the door, they can connect them then to a agency to assist them in mental or physical needs. The other bucket that VCONT does is they have an emergency fund where if someone walks in the door and they need rent assistance, they need transportation, they need food, they need clothes, VCONT helps provide that.
And so VCONT has been hugely successful in supporting these veterans person by person by person. But they came to us with a problem. They don't have a succession plan and they're all getting older. So what we were able to do is we developed a strategy playbook that helped them identify the best ways to merge with another nonprofit that would help them continue the care that they're providing to each of these veterans, service by service and client by client. We also gave 3 supplemental products, one of which was it was an internal selection framework. How do we identify which is the best organization that can continue our legacy? The second thing that we were providing is a report on the revenue source compliance. We were receiving a lot of funding and we're helping a lot of people. How do we make sure that throughout this transition, no one's getting left behind? And the last thing is a communications plan that allows the messaging for every single internal and external stakeholder to be extremely well precisely executed. So.
Absolutely. And you all have a difficult task tonight. You're supposed to decide where to put $5,000 in a way that it is most effectively maximized and actually has value. That's where VCONT steps in tonight. You see, they've already put the legwork in. They have optimized a hub and spoke network of organizations and agencies that effectively help these people and keep them off the street. So for that $5,000, you don't have to just get more. Multiple ways where that $5,000 will go.
So VCONT has been so successful because it's been driven by this willingness to uphold the legacy of service for all of the clients that they work with. They've also been able to provide vital services to clients and really show that they have a long-standing impact for the people that they work with. Now, at tables 1, table 2, and table 1, table 2, and table 4, that's about, 24 people? That is the number of, if all the people in the room today are homeless adults, the amount of the population that are veterans. And these are people that are left with not many choices because of the circumstances that they've been in, because of, even after all the things that they've sacrificed for our country. The homeless veterans that the VCONT supports don't have a lot of choices but today you do. The right answer, the right choice. Veteran Center.
That was good. That was good.
Any questions, judges?
I'll just talk really loudly. I have two questions. One is, the 5K is for general support of VCONT overall.
So it would specifically go towards that emergency relief fund.
Got it.
Especially right now, y'all know this with inflation, you can't fill up your gas tank. I mean, these guys, they can't get to a job interview. So that emergency relief fund is going to go, that $5,000 will directly go towards that. And then of course the operational costs that are, included with the merger. But even as we were talking to them last week, they said, we want this in that emergency relief fund. These veterans need it, so.
And on average, how much do you disperse annually through that fund?
They have, so their Form 990 is available publicly on their website. So that's what I'm going to refer to. And that form, they have over 6 figures annually. All of the people who run this, they're volunteers. None of them are paid. So that's over 6 figures that's directly going towards this emergency relief fund.
Sorry, one more specific question. About how much on average is an individual given? Is it 5,000, is an average disbursement like 5,000 a person or more?
So similar to what, it depends. That's the short answer, is it depends. Because if you need a bus pass, it's gonna be $250. If you need your rent paid that month, it might be $2,000. So it's gonna depend on the need of the veteran that comes in. And so if they can't assist with the emergency relief fund, they will connect these veterans to those agencies that can immediately, because y'all get it, homelessness is immediate. So they're able to address those needs before these men and women are on the street.
So during the presentation, it sounded like there wasn't great succession planning for the executive director. You're exploring a merger, et cetera. So I'd like to hear more about your perspective on the longevity of the organization and how well they're set up for success in 10, 20 years.
So, there's a lot of things that, out of respect for the organization, we're deciding to keep confidential. But there was a point when they came to us where they had literally no plan. They didn't know what was going to happen, and they said, "Hey, by the end of the year, I think we're going to be hands off." And there were no necessary systems in place to continue the services provided to all the veterans that they're already working with in that client base, as well as any forthcoming client base that might be on the way. Through our playbook, we were able to define, like, hey, we have this framework that says you need to find this organization that looks like this. We were able to say these are the things that you have to put in place and say, hey, our finances ready for this? If we merge with this kind of organization, how does that affect our grant funding? If we apply for this organization, does that affect our C3 status? They're basically providing all of the answers to questions that they didn't even know how to ask in a very step by step cookbook that they can create a pretty good stay with.
And without divulging anything we can't, we're excited to see the progress that they've made with this happening.
One quick question. I guess great minds think alike, because I had the same question. We want to make sure whichever organization we pick has ongoing impact, and succession planning is an issue with a lot of organizations, so not an issue there, but had the same kind of curiosity around, what's your plan? But you've answered that, so I'm going to put that to the side. Understood the confidential aspects that you mentioned. I just had a quick question about allocation of funds. Is it first come, first serve on folks that contact? Is there a specific application process? How do they decide who they're going to help when they come in?
Yeah, so that's something that they pride themselves most on, is their intake process. So they have a very comprehensive intake process because, as the executive director has said multiple times, sometimes they come in and they think their need is one thing, But through that internal process that they have, these men who are running it and the women that are running it, they've been there, they get it. And so they've developed this great intake process to where they're not just meeting that need, they're getting more.
Children just make me so proud. Don't they make you proud?
I think they're grown-ups, Tony.
Well, one of them mentioned that after tonight they get to be grown-ups. So I'll give them that. I'll give them that. We are very proud of you. We know that this is a lot of work. You've got day jobs. I'm going to ask the judges to actually go behind that screen. Words, we appreciate it. Now we are going to announce our winner, and as I mentioned, each of you have done a phenomenal job. Each group has done an extraordinary job, and what we are about to present is a $5,000 check to the organization that you represented. That comes from two sources. That comes from two partners at Social Venture Partners. One, Mary Jelonic, who has set up a fund at Social Venture Partners in order to make special grants to organizations outside of our normal cycle. And Mary Jelonic was with the Dallas Foundation and is retired now and is a social venture partner. And so she gave us $2,500 for this cause tonight. And Ben Leal, who is now the new director of the Addie Foundation, has matched that. And so those two gifts now equal $5,000 that will go to the winner, and we are so proud that the winner is Dwell with Dignity. Photo and acknowledge the greatness that you all are in the work that you do.
Actually, in the middle? Yeah.
You right in there in the middle. You move in a little bit so we can get you all in the photo. Maybe stand sideways. A team effort. You all did fantastic. So congratulations.